evening. I'd like to call the regular Borough Council meeting of June 28th, 2021 to order. This meeting has been properly advertised in the Home News Tribune of January 13th, 2021, according to Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Due to COVID-19, this meeting is being held by the means of the use of electronic communications equipment via online conference provided by Zoom.us. May I have a roll call, please?
Council President Farkas?
Here.
Councilman Ligotti?
Here.
Councilwoman Neubauer?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Councilman Peretti? Councilman Peretti?
We can't hear you, James.
I can't hear you, but I see you saying. And Councilman Zambrana?
Here.
All present.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will have a moment of silence followed by a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to proceed to a presentation for this evening. So I'd like to introduce Tracy Youngster, a PhD candidate from Rutgers. Hi, Tracy.
Hello.
Oh,
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Tracy, you should have access to your own screen to share your presentation.
All right, give me 1 minute here.
Sorry, take your time.
All right, can everyone see that? Oh, 1 second.
Yeah.
Can everyone see that now? Okay,
Yes.
excellent.
Thanks.
Well,
Well, it says started share. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
Good.
All right. So my name is Tracy Youngster, and I am a resident of Milltown, and I'm also a graduate student in the Department of Ecology and Evolution at Rutgers. My background is in soil microbiology, and I'm currently studying plant and soil ecology of coastal systems and wetlands in New Jersey. And I'm here today to talk about a research project that I'd like to conduct at Brook Park in Milltown, and to evaluate the effectiveness of a non-toxic herbicide against the invasive plant Phragmites australis, which some people here might be familiar with, or you might recognize it if you saw a picture of it. And I'm going to briefly explain the purpose of the research, some information about the new non-toxic herbicide that was developed in my lab, and then what exactly I'm proposing to do at Brook Park. So hopefully I'll get through this pretty quickly. So the problem is that there are currently really poor management options for controlling invasive plants, including Phragmites. And like I said, that's the plant that I'm focused on for my research specifically. It dominates in wet soils around the state and the country, and it takes over habitat of native species, which causes ecological problems. And also many land managers just hate this plant because it's really hard to control. And you can't do much with the land if Phragmites is growing. Wherever Phragmites is, like, you can't really see through there. If you want to see a waterway or something like that, there's just not much that can be done with that land. And Phragmites can grow very aggressively through rhizomes. So those are like underground stems that travel just horizontally underneath the soil. And they can travel really far distances, and new shoots just pop up from these underground rhizomes. So it can take over large areas very fast. A common way to control Phragmites is to spray the herbicide glyphosate, also known as Roundup. You can, buy that in stores. People use it as a weed killer on their lawns, but it's also used on large scales to control invasive plants. And there are some problems with it. It can have unintended environmental consequences, and a lot of people are just trying to limit the use of this herbicide. But right now, it's really the best option that there is. So a potential solution that my advisor and my lab has been working on at Rutgers for many years now is the development of a non-toxic herbicide. My advisor has developed one that is effective against Phragmites, and the current formulation only has 4 ingredients, all of which are safe for human consumption and can be bought at either a grocery store or a GNC. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what those 4 ingredients are right now because Rutgers heard about this and they're interested in patents. But I can give you as much information as possible some other time if you're interested. But it has been disclosed. So all the ingredients have been disclosed to the New Jersey DEP. And they said that no herbicide applicator license is necessary to use this mixture. And one of their quotes is that it is environmentally harmless stuff. I've already spoken with Michael and I share of the Environmental Commission, and I shared some of these emails from the DEP with him. And I spoke with Ralph at DPW about the project, and they had no concerns with using this herbicide at Brook Park. Small field trials have been done right down the road from us at Rutgers Gardens on Riders Lane, and that's where these photos were taken. So you can see the photo on the left is the control, which wasn't treated. The photo on the right was sprayed with this herbicide. So it very effectively kills the above ground plant material. And for my research, I'm interested in what's going on below ground. So the herbicide kills what's above ground, but I showed you photos of those huge rhizomes that grow underneath ground and are really great at, producing more plants at far distances and spreading. So does this herbicide actually kill the rhizomes underneath the ground? So herbicides like glyphosate do. That's one of the benefits of using glyphosate. But our herbicide, my lab's herbicide, hasn't been tested for this yet. So that's what I'm interested in doing. Because if the rhizomes aren't killed, then Phragmites is just going to keep growing back. So the study site, which I'm sure everyone here knows, like to do my experiment here at Brook Park for a few different reasons. So one, it's an area that's easily accessible, but I'm here quite frequently and I never see anybody else here. So it's not used by the public very often, and I don't think I'd be getting in anyone's way by doing some work here. It's dominated by invasive plants and including Phragmites. So this herbicide does kill other plants too, and I wouldn't want to harm any native plants, but that's really not a risk here because everything growing here is invasive. And it's also right down the street from my house, so that's another bonus. And some of the photos here, you can see just the sign going to Brook Park, and then the photo on the left. This is just a muddy trail where on the very left of that trail is the Lawrence Brook, and then there's Phragmites growing on the right. Then the photo on the right is just the mowed path that is going down to the water, and that's all Phragmites on the very right. So here's an aerial view of Brook Park, and this is taken from Google Maps, and I estimated the area of Phragmites that is in this park, and that is shown with the green circle, and it's just under an acre, so yeah, about 0.8 acres. You can see Northbrook Drive and then the Lawrence Brook tributary underneath on the bottom of the photo. And if you looked over to the left, that would be Riva Ave. And the study site that I'm proposing on working on is very small. It is 225 square feet. The next slide, I'll show you the breakdown of what I'd be doing there, but it's a tiny fraction of this entire area of Phragmites. And I promise you, if you like Phragmites for whatever reason and you don't want to see this area changing, as soon as I'm done with the experiment, it will grow right back and it'll be like I never did anything. So, all right, and this is just a really rough overview of the experimental design. So this is, you can imagine this being in that red square that I showed you in the previous slide. So all of my plots are going to be 1 meter by 1 meter. And so, and then there's going to be a weed whacked area in between these 1 meter plots. So it'll be about 13 by 13 total across. In row 1, these 3 plots, it's going to be a control with no treatment. Nothing's going to be added. I'm just going to let Phragmites grow. Row 2, all the Phragmites in those areas, it's going to be weed whacked down, covered with black plastic that's going to be secured because I want to try comparing killing Phragmites in one way versus the herbicide, so I can compare the rhizome decomposition with 2 different methods of killing Phragmites to see if there's a difference there. And then in row 3, that's going to be the one that I spray with herbicide. And if I get approval tonight, I would start work immediately because I feel like it's only going to get hotter this summer. And I would likely be spraying every week or 2 for 1 to 2 months until the Phragmites has completely died and there is no more regrowth. After this period, I would be going back periodically to dig up some rhizomes from those plots that I showed you. And I would bring those rhizomes back to a lab for analysis of the decomposition. The maximum amount of time I'd be monitoring this site would be a year. It would probably be less than that, but it would just be me visiting this site and, not spraying anything throughout that time period, but just going there to dig up rhizomes and just see how fast that those rhizomes and roots are breaking down. So that is all I wanted to go over with you today. Thank you. And here's a picture of my toddler here next to the Phragmites, just for some sense of scale. And one more request just while I'm talking. If I do get approval tonight, then if anybody here, and I don't need this now by any means, but if anyone here has information on the land use history of this site, that would be really valuable for me when I'm trying to interpret results, just to know when the storm sewer was installed there, if there's any information about when there was some engineering projects there, that would be great for me to know. And my contact information is there. I'm happy to answer any questions you have now or later. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
That was a great presentation. Thank you. Maybe our borough engineer might have some answers to some of the questions that you're looking for, or some of the council members, but I'll open it up to the council for questions.
Yeah.
I actually have a question, Tracy. Will this treatment be effective on bamboo?
Probably. It might be, yeah. I'm not sure once the bamboo gets very big, but Phragmites is in the same family. It's in the grass family, just like bamboo. So it could very likely be effective against bamboo.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool if this works out the way we want it to.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
What are the other invasive species that you found there?
So there is Japanese knotweed. There's a lot of mugwort growing. Those are the two big ones that I've noticed, but I'm sure there's many more. That's one of the things that I would like to also do, is just identify some of the other plants that are growing there.
Great. I'm not sure if this was as we could have planned this better, but I'll be bringing up in a later report that the Environmental Commission is looking at invasive species.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been helping Sally out a little bit with the pollinator garden and ripping out invasives there, and I'm happy to help with other borough projects related to invasives.
Thank you, Tracy.
Okay. Vic?
Madam Mayor, Tracy, it would behoove me not to do my public safety portion of this. It's a Rutgers-sponsored study, and there is insurance riders or things along those lines. It is a public park. Can that all be provided? That's number one.
If you can write down exactly what you would need, I can probably provide it. I mean, we've gotten permission at Rutgers Gardens and the Meadowlands Environmental Research Institute. So if there's specific information you're looking for, let me know, and I can try to get that. Okay.
I'll follow up with the borough attorney and the business administrator and get you, what we probably would require.
Okay.
The other thing is, we should also, get in contact with some department heads, specifically the police chief and the public works and utilities director, so that they can give you any assistance that you might need. Like I said, this is a public park, so, can we stop people from going in there after hours or whatever the case may be? I'm not sure, but those entities should be aware of what you're doing, and we should run stuff by them as well. I'm not sure if, we can give an approval without their approval first. I would really like to get their take on everything before we would have to vote on that. But, I'll leave that up to council to decide if they want that or not, or if Mr. Vignolo can chime in on whether or not we would need their approval or not. I would be open to any comments on that.
Whether you need their approval is you don't need their approval. Whether or not you would like to get their approval first is a decision you guys get to make. But you could certainly condition any action you take upon this youngster going and meeting with them and addressing any concerns that they might have. Because I know this seems to be time sensitive, and we don't meet again for another month because we're going into summer meeting times. So I think we'd be in a position where we'd be pushing our project back a little bit. And I think given the nature of what she's trying to do, I think we could probably tie it all up with those types of meetings. And obviously, if any department had a significant concern, we would have to address that. But I don't think she's proposing. The nature of what she's proposing is pretty limited.
I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as Miss Youngster, you want to meet with Ralph Jesnowski and Chief Kennelly. I think if you just have a quick conversation with them both, I'm pretty sure they're going to say, do what you got to do. And, as long as they give you the check mark, have at it as far as I'm concerned.
Councilman McGuire, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to put it out there that this did wash through Ralph already.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Perfect.
Yeah, she said that. So Tracy, just as how do you mark out where you're going to work? Like, how do you protect where it is? Do you sort of have to rope it off a little bit, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, one site I'm working at in the Meadowlands right now, I just put stakes around it with, some string tie around there. And that's really it. Part of the trouble with doing field work is you can't always control what other people do. It's one of the risks. Usually people leave things alone, and most people are just kind of curious. There's usually not too much vandalism, but it is a risk with doing field work, no matter where you are.
Okay. And then just out of curiosity, so the Phragmites, that's obviously a lot there in Brook Park. Have you looked around at other places in Milltown that, and mapped out the Phragmites or other invasive species as well?
Yeah, so Phragmites grows all along the water, all along the Lawrence Brook, and it takes over really vast areas. And I'm always looking for it everywhere I go. And there are really big patches of it. Brook Park just seems to be the best area to work because it is isolated by a path that's mowed and the Lawrence Brook and roads on either side. So it's just an easier place to work than some of the other areas. But yeah, it's a problem all along the waterways.
Will you have any signage at the site kind of telling people what's going on? Or is it just going to be staked out and some string up to kind of cordon off the area? Just trying to see if that could help people to know what it is and perhaps stay away from it.
Yeah, I thought about that. And that's something, if anyone here has an opinion on it, I was thinking I could put, just a laminated sign with a very brief description that it's a Rutgers ecology experiment. If you think that would be valuable or just interesting to people.
I think it might help you have people stay away from it.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, it might help people not bother it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that then.
Peter, any kind of an insurance rider we're going to need from Rutgers, or no?
It's your call. I mean, she's a resident going into a public park to, run an experiment. So, I'm sure we have coverage from the Joint Insurance Fund for her being in the park. But I would defer to Jeanette on that because I don't know our insurance, but she's nodding her head yes. So, I mean, given the nature of what she's doing, if she wanted to experiment with an herbicide that was not all natural, but the components that she has indicated, it seems like, we're not creating anything that's going to harm the ecology. So really, it's Ms. Youngster really going there is the biggest threat that there is, whether she's safe when she moves in and out.
Okay. Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, just one thing very quick.
Sure.
I want Ms. Youngster to know that the area where she proposes to work is definitely floodplain and possibly even floodway. I'm not sure if she knew that.
I suspected, but thank you.
And we do have plans, including it's a Green Acres funded project from many years ago. And in fact, there was even an ice skating rink, an earthen dammed ice skating rink that sits in the center of where that mural is.
That's really interesting.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Anyone else? Well, Tracy, thank you so much. Really appreciate the presentation, and we'll be interested to hear how it goes. So hopefully you'll come back and give us an update on how things work out for you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you all so much.
Great.
Just so we're all clear, so we're giving her permission, correct?
Well, I think it's on the agenda, right? So it'll be
it's one of the resolutions.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can give her the wink and the nudge and kind of go like, yeah, and then, she can stick around for what happens later.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Thanks. All right. Now we will move on to approval of the minutes from the June 14th, 2021 meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Move that the minutes be approved as typed.
Second.
I have a motion by Council President Farkas, second by Councilwoman Newbauer. Any comments, corrections? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have the bill list, bills and claims. Will the clerk please read by title only the bill resolution 157-2021?
Resolution 157, 2021 is authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $2,933,506.02.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that the resolutions be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Legati, second by Councilman Zambrana. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Legati,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Yeah. Welcome back, James. Councilman Zambrana.
Well, I'm using my cell phone now.
There you go.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is comments from the audience on the consent agenda resolutions 158, 2021 through 177, 2021. If any member of the public wishes to speak on any of the resolutions, please identify yourself to the clerk and say your name and address for the record. These comments are limited to resolutions listed on the consent agenda. Mimi will open it up to the public.
I don't see anyone.
Okay, so then we will close audience comments and do the introduction of the resolutions. When voting on resolutions, all matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and having been reviewed by the Borough Council will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Are there any questions, or does anyone want to pull any resolutions from the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor, I have a question. No, not necessary to pull anything, but 174, 2021 and 175, 2021. I was just wondering if the clerk might be able to explain that to us, just so we have a better understanding of what's going on here.
Absolutely. This is a housekeeping issue. I've been made aware by the state ABC Liquor Control Board that for the year 2019 and 20, there were 2 pocket licenses that were renewed based on the fact that they had all of their documentation in place. It's come to my attention that for 2019 and 2019 into 2020, because they're on fiscal year, they did not have their 1239 ruling in place for their pocket license. And therefore, we have to rescind the license that we approved back at that time. We actually didn't do it in 2020, 2021, because it was discovered then I think we were made aware of it. We just didn't and forgot to rescind the license for the 1920 year. So we're now doing that by resolution so that I can upload that to the system, and then the owner of the pocket licenses can then correct and bring everything up to date.
Okay, and the owner is aware of these issues and is working with you to correct everything?
Yes, working with myself, the board, the control board, and her private attorney.
Great. Thank you very much, Mimi.
No problem. If anybody has any other specific questions about that?
No, that was, you answered it, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so there being no request to pull any resolutions, will the clerk please read the consent resolution?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting. And whereas the borough clerk has posted a consent agenda for this meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and borough council of the borough of Milltown, county of Middlesex, state of New Jersey, that the consent agenda previously prepared by the borough clerk be approved without the necessity of having the individual resolutions read by the borough clerk.
For the reading of this resolution, what is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Council President Farkas, second by Councilwoman Newbauer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
And this is to approve resolutions 158 through 177, 2021. Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Langotti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Now we have ordinance introductions. There will be no public input on the introduction of ordinance 21-1499. The introduction summary will be posted in the Home News Tribune on July 2nd, 2021. And second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on 7/19/2021. Full copies of the ordinance will be posted on the borough website, on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and available at no cost at the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 9 and 4, Monday through Thursday, and Friday from 9 until noon. I'm going to read the ordinance by title. 21-1499, an ordinance to amend Chapter 14, Parks and Recreation, Section 6, Borough Pool, subsection 6.3, Fees, and Section 7, Recreation Programs, subsection 7.2, Fees, of revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. May I have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 21-1499?
Make a motion that the ordinance be adopted on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be held at the next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday, July 19th at 7 p.m. in council chambers in Borough Hall.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Langotti, a second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Will any comments? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Langotti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Ordinance 21-1499 has been introduced.
Okay. So the next two, we have two more ordinances. I just wanted to make a quick comment and also get maybe a comment from our borough attorney. The next two ordinances deal with the cannabis and the cannabis statute that the state passed last year. So first of all, I want to acknowledge all of the council who throughout their various committees have been doing their due diligence to take a look at the various ramifications of this. And so it was their recommendation that we proceed with this ordinance, but you will see that the second ordinance is asking for some feedback from the public, because there is some more information coming from the state. And so I would ask our borough attorney, Mr. Vignolo, just to do a little, more explanation for the public and for the full council on how we got to doing the two ordinances this evening.
Sure. So as we all probably have learned, that the legislature, in response to a poll question regarding to the residents regarding the legalization of cannabis, adopted a statutory amendment earlier this year, which essentially created 6 different classes of marijuana licenses and a whole framework of rules and regulations. They didn't adopt everything. So essentially, one of the things they did was they created a cannabis regulatory commission, and they told that commission that they were to enact rules and regulations for things like number of licenses of each type, security for the licensees, label packaging, advertising, and all those things. And they gave them 180 days to come up with those rules and regulations from February 22nd. They also, at the same time, told municipalities that if in the past you've adopted ordinances or resolutions that prohibit cannabis within your municipality, that those are now void, and you have 180 days from February 22nd to decide whether or not you would like to take some action to regulate cannabis retailers and producers within your municipality, or if you do nothing, then you will automatically be deemed to have agreed to allow certain types of businesses within certain zones within your municipality for a 5-year period. The alternative is to either regulate them specifically or to prohibit them entirely. If you prohibit them entirely, the prevailing understanding is that you can revisit that prohibition at a later date and enact regulations in order to have those go into effect for a 5-year period. So essentially where we are now is we don't have any regulations from the state yet, and we are given the same deadline as those regulations in order to decide whether or not we want to allow it on a municipality. So essentially, based upon the committees that have considered this, the recommendation was to adopt an ordinance which prohibits it entirely within the municipality, and then to revisit it once the regulations come out. This is done part and parcel with the second ordinance that's on this evening, which is an ordinance which would ask a more specific question of the residents of Middletown. At the last general election, the question was essentially, do you support legalization of cannabis in the state of New Jersey? That's a good question, but that's not really a Middletown specific question. So this is going to provide a more Middletown specific question, asking residents whether they would support a cannabis retail use as a permitted use in the B4 and B5 zones within the borough. And you say, what are those zones? And those zones are the areas along Riders Lane. So it's the highway strip commercial zone along Riders Lane. And that would be the area that we would ask residents whether they would be willing to support cannabis retailer as a permitted use in those 2 zones. So those are the 2 ordinances that we have on this evening. And that's kind of a background as to how we got to where we are.
Thank you.
You got it.
And as we get closer to the public question, we would be also happy to provide any resources for a town hall or people that have more information from the state to come and speak as well. So
Sure.
We couldn't really do that by Zoom, but we'll be going back to the council chambers. So we will be happy to have other avenues for feedback other than before the public question.
Sure, and that's something that we're going to need to see really what the regulations that come out from the commission tell municipalities. So really right now it's a very gray area. You don't know really what the terms of what you would conceivably be permitted. Right. And it's really hard to do that in a vacuum. So I think the most responsible thing to do would be to kind of punt it for a couple months and see where you get to.
Exactly. Okay. So now I will read the ordinance. There will be no public input on the introduction of ordinance 21-1500. The introduction summary will be published in the Home News Tribune on July 2nd, 2021, and second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on July 19th, 2021. Full copies of the ordinance will be posted on the borough website, on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and available at no cost in the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 9 and 4 Monday through Thursday and 8 and noon on Friday. Ordinance 21-1500, an ordinance to amend Chapter 34, Comprehensive Development, a revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, to prohibit any class of cannabis business and medical marijuana facilities within its geographical boundaries. May I have a motion and a second regarding introduction of ordinance 21-1500?
Move that the ordinance be adopted on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be held at our next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday, July 19th at 7 p.m. in council chambers in Borough Hall.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Councilman Ligotti, second by Council President Farkas. Any discussion from the council? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Ligotti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Dubauer,
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries to introduce 21-1500.
Okay. And next, there will be no public input on the introduction of ordinance 21-1501. The introduction summary will be posted in the Home News Tribune on July 2nd, 2021, and second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on July 19th, 2021. Full copies of the ordinance will be posted on the borough website, on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and available at no cost in the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 9 and 4 Monday through Thursday and 9 and noon on Friday. This is ordinance 21-1501, an ordinance of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing a non-binding referendum to consider whether the borough should allow Class 5 cannabis retailer as a permitted use in the B4 Highway Strip Commercial Zone and B5 Highway Strip Commercial Zone within the Borough of Milltown. We have a motion and a second.
I move that the ordinance be adopted on first reading, published according to law, and that a public law published according to law, and that the public hearing be held at the next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday, July 19th at 7 p.m. in council chambers in Borough Hall. You think I would have got it right on the third one?
So I need a second. Did I get a set, Randy? Did you second? Okay. So
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
a motion from Councilman Ligotti, second from Council President Farkas. Any discussion from the council? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Ligotti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Dubauer,
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
and Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries to introduce ordinance 21-1501.
Thank you. Okay, now we will move on to the council professional and mayor's reports. We'll start with the Department of Finance Administration and Planning, Councilman Phil Zambrana.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have two short reports tonight. First, I'd like to announce that Milltown Day will be coming back this year. Please save the date. The scheduled date is September 25th between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Please note that this is a change from previous years' Milltown Days, which was usually traditionally the first Saturday in October. We will have a rain date for Sunday, September 26th, and there'll be some requests that will probably be coming through on the next meeting to just for some asks for some additional help from DPW and the Milltown Police Department. My second report is just some final reminders for the Independence Day celebration this week. The parade will be on, rain or shine. There is no rain date. The celebration will start on Saturday, July 3rd, not on Sunday, July 4th. Mugs and t-shirts will be available at our 4 vendors this week. And if I just go here, I have the official vendors of the Bagel Express, Mike's Country Market, Milltown Convenience, and Rescued by Lacey, who are the official vendors for t-shirts and mugs. Patriotic House voting will start this Wednesday and go through Friday evening. The voting can be taken care of by going to milltown4thofjuly.org. 50/50 raffle tickets will remain on sale through July 3rd. They are $20 each. They're available at locations throughout town at those vendors that I just mentioned. The start button, actually you can win a chance to push the button to start the fireworks. Will be available again through our vendors till July 3rd in the morning. And we wanted to make one thing very abundantly clear, that the brochures were printed before the restrictions were lifted. So just remember, in keeping with our tradition, candy will be thrown throughout the parade route this year. All efforts should be made to ensure that the candy that is thrown to the edge of the road or off the road, just for safety. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. All good news on your report, thanks.
Yes.
Next, we have the Department of Public Safety, Councilman Nick Ligotti.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A few short reports tonight for everyone. The June 2021 Milltown Senior Center report. Meetings have been held with the Senior Director, Business Administrator, Senior Center President, and Council Representative. Good news is the target date for reopening the Senior Center is July 6th. A signed waiver will be required and temperature checks will be performed on arrival. Masks are optional for all vaccinated members. Any non-vaccinated members are encouraged to wear masks. There will be new hours of operation. The center will now be opened from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday and closed on Fridays. There will be a slow transition the first week, July 6th, 7th, and 8th, with no programs, but all seniors are welcome to come for coffee and some conversation in a common location other than their own home. One program per day will be scheduled starting July 12th and increasing as members return. We are in need for an assistant to the director at the Senior Center. Please contact Debbie Cuddy at 732-296-0681. We are also in need of a bus driver with the proper CDL license. Please contact Debbie Cuddy at 732-296-0681. We will be posting all current information to the borough website as well as have something on Channel 15. Thank you and stay safe. Debbie Cuddy, Milltown Senior Center Director. My second report, Madam Mayor, is a message from the Collective Public Safety Committee, consisting of the Milltown Fire Department, the Milltown Police Department, the Rescue Squad, and the Office of Emergency Management. With the July 4th festivities approaching on July 3rd, we urge all residents to be safe, careful, and have a wonderful 4th of July. Thank you. The last thing I would like to do is, per our consent resolution, I would like to welcome firefighter Brian Waller to the Milltown Fire Department. And that concludes my report for tonight, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you. More good news. Thank you, Nick. Next, we will move on to the Department of Utilities, Council President Randy Farkas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Public Works and Recycling, Councilwoman Anna Neubauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight, I just have one very short report from the Department of Public Works. Along with all curbside collections, the DPW has the following to report. Street sign repair took place on Southbrook and in various other locations in around town. The planter has been moved from the library, in front of the library, to North Main Street. Catch basin cleaning, it has been completed, and outfall pipe cleaning has begun to comply with the stormwater regulations. The Growlich Way detention pond has been cleared of vegetation and debris. Pothole repair has taken place on Riva Avenue, Hague Avenue, Ackerman Avenue, Janet Court, Van Loo Avenue, and other locations around town and is ongoing. The Michelin Field Playground replacement parts have been ordered and will be installed as soon as they are received. More mulch has been added to various parks around town. Hydrant painting has begun, and preparations for the 4th of July celebrations have also begun. Please check Channel 15 and milltownnj.org for any other and following DPW updates. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to the Department of Environmental Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Margaret O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. We did not have a library meeting between the last meeting and this one, but I just wanted to put out a reminder for the Friends of the Library's photo contest that our Independence Day celebration may be a good opportunity to take pictures and submit them for the photo contest. And the photo contest leads to the 2022 calendar. So winning photos will be used there. And we may find some other uses for them throughout town as well. So residents are encouraged to participate. The Board of Health meets on the 4th Tuesday of each month. I unfortunately missed this meeting, but thanks to Kathy Beardsley, I got caught up very quickly on some notes. The meeting was limited to a discussion about vital statistics and the rabies clinic. Couldn't think of that word for a second, sorry. And we'll be discussing the necessity of a July meeting. The Environmental Commission meets on the 4th Wednesdays. There was no quorum at the previous meeting, but there was a lively discussion with those who were able to attend. When there is no quorum, there's no official actions that are taken. The committee and the commission would like to continue to meet via Zoom, and we'd love some feedback on whether that will be permitted when the rest of the council meetings return to council chambers. So I'll probably follow up with our borough attorney to report back to the Environmental Commission on that. I'm not sure if anyone on the council will be reporting on the Human Relations Committee event that took place over the weekend. I attended, so I can mention that.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Invasive species, including bamboo. So the Environmental Commission is looking at ordinances from surrounding towns
the city of Jacksonville
in New Jersey
has been having any conversations about
what to propose to the council about invasive and nuisance species. So we will be in touch at a future meeting with a suggestion on how to address something that Tracy very kindly showed us how problematic these can be. So nothing to in detail to share with all of you tonight, but just wanted to give you a heads up that it was forthcoming.
Great.
With weather like this, you need to be in the water, on the water, near the water.
Any other new business from the council this evening?
Right.
Seeing none, we will close new business and move on to audience comments. Public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining any comment until the speaker has finished. It should be further.
Recording in progress.
Any last council comments? Any comments from the council? No. Okay. So next, we will say the Borough Council will be entering an executive session. The public will be excluded from this portion of the meeting to permit the council to consider matters appropriate for discussion in such a session. The Borough Council will convene in private. So I will read Resolution 178-2021, a resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown authorizing the discussion of matters in a closed session pursuant to the statutory exclusions of NJSA 10-412. May I have a motion and a second to adopt the Resolution 178-2021 for executive session?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Council President Farkas, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Legati,
You're on mute, Nick.
Councilman Legati,
Aye.
Councilman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries to go to executive session. We will break out into a breakout room. So we'll see you in just a second.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.